Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening here live from the Boshemer Gymnasium. For the third straight year, a USA South tournament game will be hosted here on the site of Brevard College. Tonight, it's the Brevard College Women's Tornadoes taking on the Greensboro Pride, a 4 versus 5 matchup in the opening round of the USA South tournament. NATOs with the third straight year grabbing that home court advantage in round number 1. They beat Maryville in 2022. They beat Methodist in 2023. Looking to add Greensboro to the graveyard here in 2024. Back here in just a moment alongside my partner Weston Coop. I am Brady Penn bringing you all of the action here tonight on what should be a great night of basketball between the Tornadoes and the Pride. back here from the Bosch. Tornadoes in the midst of their warm-ups. Greensboro on the other side of the court with a really short-handed roster. Only 7 players on the floor for Greensboro. Only 7 rostered players for the reigning USA South champion, Greensboro College Pride. Obviously a lot of turnaround, which we will get to later on in the show. But Greensboro still is the defending champs coming into this building, trying to upset the number 4 seed Tornadoes, who are coming off of a big win. You look at the Tornadoes, they won 93-59 Coop on Saturday versus Salem. And what do you think was working for the Tornadoes? You were on the air. What did you see?
I got to be honest. The real question is what was not working for the NATOs last week? I mean, really, they come out and they shot the ball well, got inside, dominated inside on defense and offense. They played really good defense, Great game for the NATOs. But I'll tell you one thing. I'm looking for this Greensboro team to come out here with a chip on their shoulder. Look at them to come out here and try to, defend their honor a little bit, as we talked about. Because last year they were the champions of the conference. So, just kind of look at them to uphold their honor. Just really looking for a good game here. The NATOs are in that tournament mindset. So I'm ready to see that get into full effect here.
Absolutely, Coop. The Tornadoes are in their 3rd straight USA South tournament appearance. They have won in the first round each of the last 2 years. In the 2021-2022 season, it was a victory against Maryville here, the first postseason victory of the NCAA era. Well, last season, Coach Hudson and company added on to that with a victory against Methodist in the first round here on this same floor, and looking to do the same in round number 1 against the Greensboro College Pride here tonight. We've got USA South Commissioner Tom Hart in the building. We will likely hear from him later on in the program as the Tornadoes and Pride get ready to do battle. We look at Coach Hudson's keys to the game. And the number 1, Coop, is rebound, rebound, rebound. The Tornadoes had a point in the season where they did struggle rebounding, but did end up right around the middle of the pack in overall rebounds and rebounding margin. Have you seen the improvement in that department for this team?
I'll have to say I have seen the improvement, especially in these last couple of games here. You take a look at last week, for example, in that dominant win, main thing they did was out-rebound them by double digits. I mean, big things, It really comes down to the simple things that Coach Hood puts on our sheet to success.
Absolutely. Coach Hudson also said executing clean offense and to disrupt. And if we know anything about this Tornado defense, Coop, it's that they've got active hands and they love to steal.
That 2-3 zone is absolutely suffocating. It is everything that you were looking at for a defense from the NATOs. They're active, they're energetic, everything I'm looking for. I'm excited. Let's get to it, PZ.
It feels like everybody on this Tornado defense could be hit with a grand larceny charge at any moment, the way that they create turnovers. And then Coach Hudson also said to defend without fouling, something that the NATOs have been very disciplined with these last few games, is keeping teams off of the free throw line. So it should be a good one. Like you said, Coop will be back in just a few moments with the starters for both teams, and then we'll send it down to the PA for the introductions here. USA South Tournament basketball between the Tornadoes and the Pride here. Round number 1, Tornadoes looking to write a new story in 2024. Back here from the Bosch, we've got the starting lineups for both sides here tonight. We'll start it off with Greensboro. Starting things off is number 3, Samaya Mitchell, the 5'1 freshman out of Clarksville, Tennessee. After that, it's number 5, Tamara Hooker, the 5'9 junior out of Huntersville, North Carolina. Then it is number 10, Kenzie Harris, freshman 5'8 out of Greensboro, North Carolina. Following up Kenzie, it is number 21, Aziria Barino, the junior 6'1 out of Charlotte, North Carolina. And rounding out the 5 is number 30, Natalia Atwater, the 5'6 senior out of Hampton, Georgia. Now for the Tornadoes, number 4, China Pouncey, senior 5'7 guard out of Dillon, South Carolina. Number 5, Lexi Shepard, the 5'2 junior guard out of Summerville, South Carolina. Number 11, Jada Petty Wilkins, sophomore 5'8 out of Tryon, North Carolina. And then the 2 stars of the show here, Josie Hester, the junior guard, 5'9 out of Huntersville, North Carolina. And then Nalia Boyce, the junior center out of Marion, North Carolina. The 5 for the Tornadoes. And Coop, we've seen this lineup fairly often this year, especially with the injuries of Olivia Miller and Josie Hester. And where do you look for the offense to run through? I think I know the answer, but tell everybody at home.
I'm looking for this offense to run through 2 people specifically. I'm looking for Josie Hester here, and I'm looking for Nalia Boyce.
Don't forget Jada Petty Wilkins outside on the perimeter too, kind of the de facto shooter. Obviously, Josie Hester might be the most lethal shooter on the team, but for the designated role of shooter, Jada Petty Wilkins is that player for the Tornadoes. And it'll be interesting to see what Coach Hudson wants to do with the offense here tonight. So we've got the Pride lineup and the Brevard College Tornadoes lineup. All that's left to do is send you down to the PA for the introductions and the playing of the national anthem. Then it'll be time for playoff basketball here from the Bosch Coop. Cannot wait. First round of the USA South Tournament between Greensboro and Brevard. Back here in just a moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Brevard College Athletic Department respectfully asks you to please stand for the playing of our national anthem. tonight's starting lineups. First, the visiting pride of Greensboro College. Head guard, a 5-foot freshman from Clarksville, Tennessee, number 3, Samaya Mitchell. Head guard, a 5'6" junior from Fayetteville, North Carolina, number 5, Tamara Hooker. Head guard, a 5'8" freshman from Greensboro, North Carolina, number 10, Mackenzie Harris. Head guard, a 6'4" junior from Charlotte, North Carolina, number 21, Azaria Burrito. Head guard, a 5'6" senior from Hampton, Georgia, number 30, Natalia Atwater. The Pride is coached by LaQuanda Dawkins Prince. Go Pride! And now, the starting lineup for your Brevard College Tornadoes. Head guard, a 5'7" senior from Dillon, South Carolina. Number 4, China Kelsey. Head guard, a 5'2" junior from Somerville, South Carolina. Number 5, Lexi Shepard. Head guard, a 5'8" sophomore from Charlotte, North Carolina. Number 11, Jada Petty Wilkins. Head guard, a 5'11" junior from Huntersville, North Carolina. Number 15, Josie Hester. And in center, a 6-foot junior from Marion, North Carolina. Number 50, Maria Boyce. Your Tornadoes are coached by Mr. Donald Hudson.
All right, folks, there you have it. Tornadoes and Pride, both lineups being announced, and it is time to go here. USA South first-round action for the third straight year, hosted here in the Bosch. I am Brady Penn alongside Weston Coop, here for all of the playoff drama, all the action, all the emotions here on Chick Martin Court in the Boshimer Gymnasium. The 5 for the NATOs, Pouncey, Shepard, Petty Wilkins, Hester, and Boyce. For Greensboro, Mitchell, Hooker, Harris, Barino, and Atwater. And it'll be Azaria Barino up against China Pouncey for the tip. Barino 6'1" to Pouncey's 5'7" here on the jump, Coop.
What a miss. Ooh, something to very good mention there, PG.
China's got the hops, though. And we'll see who comes away with the first possession.
Wearing the pearly pinks tonight.
The pink uniforms have made an appearance, and it's Barino who takes the tip. Dribbling to the left here is Mitchell. Now Hooker. Tamara Hooker over to the right side. It's Atwater on the wing. Steps inside of the three-point arc and then gets it back outside. A bounce pass down low to Barino. Azaria Barino fighting for positioning on Boyce. A pass out to Kenzie Harris. Harris surveying, now looks and finds Mitchell. Mitchell's pass is deflected and taken away. An early turnover for the Pride. And here comes Lexi Shepard. You see Josie Hester moving off ball early on, coming towards this near corner. And Lexi will get it to her. Back to Shepard. Shepard, a quick pass to Boyce. Hester has an open look from deep. Josie Hester too strong. Offensive rebound, China Pouncey. Pouncey over the head of Shepard. Boyce is able to track it down and get it over to Hester. Shepard, once again, this time in front of the Greensboro bench. Goes inside. Boyce on the cut. And the basket there for big number 50. Nalia Boyce with the opening basket here in the first round. Mitchell loses the basketball. And it's recovered by Atwater in the corner, guarded by Josie Hester, has nowhere to go. Trying to fight on the baseline, stays in bounds, looking, the ball is fought for, and a jump ball called with the possession arrow heading the NATO's way. Josie Hester with some really good defense on these first two possessions. 2-0 lead for the NATOs as they get it back for the second time. Lexi Shepard starts things off, now goes over to China Pouncey. Pouncey to Shepard. Shepard to her left. Josie has another open look. Instead gives to Jada Petty Wilkins, who will let it fly from the corner. In and out. Rebound knocked out of the hands of Barino. She's not able to stay with it. Petty Wilkins. Shepard going inside now. Pass into the corner. Boyce. A deep two is no good. Offensive rebound. China Pouncey once again. China cleaning up the glass right now. Shepard. Cross-court pass to Petty Wilkins. Lets it fly once again. No good. Short. An air ball there and then contact and a foul. Jada Petty Wilkins came in hard trying to grab that one and ran straight into the back of Tamara Hooker. Tornadoes had a second and third chance on that possession, not able to get anything to find the bottom of the net. And Coop, one player we're told to monitor here tonight is Olivia Miller. Miller, the reigning USA South Rookie of the Year, has not played in some time, but hearing that we could see her in the lineup here tonight, has a broken left index finger as Mitchell drives inside, passes now, and that one no good from Harris. Josie Hester with the rebound. Now Lexi Shepard brings it up. Shepard to her left. It's Petty Wilkins. Has already attempted a couple of threes. Now back to Lexi. Petty Wilkins once again. Passes it into Pouncey. Pouncey at the free throw line. Gives over to Shepard behind the three-point line. Shepard. Pouncey once again. Petty Wilkins has another open look. She's not shy. Petty Wilkins off the rim, and the rebound brought in by Harris. Harris bringing it up fast on the break, and now she'll slow it down. Behind the back, she goes over to Tamara Hooker. Hooker, right to left on Pouncey. Step back jumper is airballed, and it's going to head to the cheerleaders. An empty possession once again for Greensboro. Still looking for their first points about 3 minutes in, but the NATO's only with one basket themselves. Shepard receiving instruction from head coach Donald Hudson early on the sideline. And now she moves to her left, China Pouncey. Jada Petty Wilkins over to Josie Hester. Now Shepard once more. Shepard has a screen. Now to Hester for three. No good. Rebound is brought in by Greensboro. It's Hooker with it. Now up the floor, Mitchell. Scanning and not seeing anything. Now she moves to her left. Trying to get space on Shepard. Inside, Barrino. Bounce pass. Knocked up in the air and taken away by Jada Petty Wilkins. A steal there for number 11. Now she trots up the floor. Petty Wilkins around a screen. Over to Hester, who's missed her first couple of shots. Josie is going to give it to Nalia. Nalia turning around, fighting for positioning, and gets the finish. That one rattled around and dropped. Nalia Boyce, 2 early baskets here in the first 3.5 minutes.
Mouse in the house. The pest control is open today.
Nalia Boyce pest control open for business down in the low block. Tamara Hooker with the basketball now, goes around a screen and dumps it off to Harris, or rather Barrino, and now the jump shot way off the mark there by Barrino. Lexi Shepard gives it over to Pouncey. Now Boyce. Petty Wilkins behind the arc gives to Pouncey. Now Josie going to try another three. That one too strong. NATO starting off cold from deep here as the rebound brought in by Atwater. Mitchell. Samaya Mitchell has a double screen here and then gets it up top to Kenzie Harris. Harris swings over to Atwater. Inside, Atwater's floater is rejected by Nalia Boyce. Nalia active here early on, Coop, and we said we needed to see it early on from Hester and Boyce, and we've seen it early and often in terms of the two of them shooting the rock. Nalia Boyce doing some damage on both ends of the floor, too. Shepard over to Hester. Josie into the lane, now stops and gives up to Lexi Shepard. Lexi. Pass back over to Pouncey, who's wide open from deep. Pouncey in and out. Rebound Barrino, and the NATOs cannot find it yet from deep. Samaya Mitchell. Lexi gives a little hand check. That forces her to pick up the dribble and go to Kenzie Harris. Harris bumped, no whistle. Underneath the basket, Mitchell, she can't finish the layup. Gets her own miss, goes up again, no good. Ball knocked out of China Pouncey's hands there by Atwater, but it'll stay with the NATOs. A media timeout coming here. NATOs with a 4-0 lead and some really, really good defense early on. Back here in just a moment from the Bosch. Back out of the timeout, Samaya Williams in now for the Pride. 6-foot freshman out of Ridgeway, Virginia. As the NATOs have the ball once again. 4:37 to go here. Over halfway through the first quarter, and it's a 4-0 ball game. Defensive showing so far as Boyce fires an overhead pass to Petty Wilkins from deep straightaway three.
Puts it in.
Jada Petty Wilkins, she was 0 for 3 prior to that shot. That might get her going. A big three out of the timeout. As Mitchell drives in the lane and gets an open look underneath the basket for Greensboro's first points.
And PZ, you know as well as I do that all Petty Wilkins needs is a spark.
Exactly. Not afraid to let that thing fly. Shoot or shoot. Jada Petty Wilkins well familiar with the old adage. Petty Wilkins has it once again, but she'll move to her left. Trying to get a pass off, and it's stolen. That one taken away by Samaya Williams. Williams passes outside to Kenzie Harris. Harris into the lane herself. Puts this one up, and it's swatted away by China Pouncey. And Coop, China does a lot of things well, but that's the number one reason that she's getting these starts. That and the veteran leadership, but her grit on the defensive end shines above everything else. As going inside is Hooker, who passes out to Harris. Harris gives over to Williams. And now once again it's Hooker with 10 on the shot clock. She hoists up a jumper and hits it from deep. Tamara Hooker there showing the range as Pouncey has to get back to inbound it to Lexi Shepard. And again, that was 4-0 a moment ago, is 7-5 as we approach the 3-minute mark of the first quarter. Hester has it. Bounce over to Petty Wilkins. I think she might have wanted Pouncey. It's back to Hester now. Josie swings to her left, Lexi Shepard. Shepard bounces at the free throw line to Boyce. Back out to Shepard. Hester firing from three-point land and puts it in. Josie Hester with the three ball there. And that's what we're more accustomed to seeing from her and Petty Wilkins on these last two possessions. Mitchell moving from right to left here. Wants to get it into Barrino and does. Barrino trying to go physical at Boyce. Now dishes it back out. Hooker. Corner Mitchell. In front of the NATO bench. Gives over to Barrino, who's going to attempt a deep two. No good. From that right side. Couldn't get it to fall. Shepard now in transition. Gives over to Hester. Josie, a couple of slow dribbles and a smile. Now gives back to Lexi Shepard. Shepard. Petty Wilkins. Jada passes over to Pouncey. And now Hester, who flings a pass to Nalia Boyce. And Christina Roan and Shania Hauser are going to find their first action in this one. Greensboro started the game, Coop, 0 for 7 from the field. Since then, 2 for 2. Hopefully, they don't make it 3 for 3 here. A couple of defensive changes with Roan and Hauser coming in. More on them in a moment. As Josie has it on the left wing. Bounces to Boyce. Free throw line jumper, and that one, a rare miss from that territory for Nalia. Petty Wilkins after the rebound from Hauser. Gives over to Hester. Josie can't find that one. Another rebound by Hauser. Josie inside. Ball's knocked out of her hands. It'll stay with the NATOs. How about Shania Hauser with some immediate impact on the glass coming in and getting 2 offensive rebounds.
And that's kind of a bit of what we saw from her last week.
Absolutely. We talked about how Shania might have earned herself a role in this tournament with that performance against Salem, as that pass is supposed to go into Hauser. It's taken away, but right on the baseline by Hooker, so it'll stay with Brevard. Dangerous pass from Roan. But yeah, we talked about Shania earning a role, and it looks like she did just that. As Boyce gets it in the left corner, now gives off to Josie. Hester fires a pass to Roan, who pump fakes. Fires a transition two, no good. Another miss there for the NATOs, and now Mitchell brings it up in a 10-5 ball game. Hooker around a screen from Barrino, now passes into Barrino. It's swatted away by Jada Petty Wilkins. The defensive instincts by Petty Wilkins are really underrated in my opinion. You see her with 2 early steals. This team in general is so good at defending as Boyce fires to Roan, who has an open three. Christina rattles it home.
Christina Roan is a very good spark coming off the bench for Coach Hudd and his team.
And Greensboro might have just entered the Roan zone. Mitchell to her left. It's Williams, now Barrino. A couple of dribbles and a travel. Substitution again here for the NATOs will be Michaela Street. Still no Olivia Miller. Does have that warm-up shirt on, but is dressed in uniform. Really unsure of when we'll see her. Christina has it again. Moving to her right, hands to Josie Hester. Josie thought about firing a quick one. Instead, it's Petty Wilkins who will fire a deep one. Jada Petty Wilkins, for the second time here in the first, has knocked down a tray ball. 16-5 NATO lead. All of a sudden, NATO's getting hot from deep after a cold start. Jumper here from Kenzie Harris is off the mark, and the rebound's brought in by Josie Hester. A 9-0 run by the Tornadoes. Can they add to it? Hester thinks about finding Hauser. Instead, it's Petty Wilkins who gets a screen from Hauser. Jada, once again, from deep, in and out. Rebound knocked around and brought in by Barino. That one would have been a huge energy boost. Would have made it a 12-0 run. But an empty possession for the Tornadoes as Hooker, guarded by Roan, and now doubled. Street, who just checked in, came in on that double, and now crossing over is Hooker, who's going to fire a mid-range and bury it.
It's a tough shot.
It is a good shot. 6 seconds left here in the first. Christina going to move quickly, going to fire from deep. Christina Roan off the backboard, no good. That one was from deep. That'll run us to the end of the first. NATO's leading it 16-7. Coop, Greensboro was scoreless for the first 5 minutes and 49 seconds of the first quarter. An 0-for-7 start, and then they kind of got back into this one with a couple of consecutive stops and makes, and then a Brevard College 9-2 run to end the first quarter. We'll step aside. NATO's leading it 16-7. Back here for the start of the second soon. Back here for the second. NATO's holding a 9-point lead as we enter the second quarter of play in what could be the last game that we see in this building, Coop, this season. Hopefully not. Hopefully some magic on either or both sides of the USA South men's and women's, but there's a very real possibility this is the last game that we get to see in this building in the spring of 2024.
I know I sure am hoping for some mayhem to happen in this conference tournament right now.
Absolutely. Forget March Madness. We need some February madness. Somehow find a way to host a USA South championship game here.
That would be ideal.
Be incredible. As Atwater drives in on Hester, goes up, is blocked, but a foul.
And honestly, this is something I expected to see from this Greensboro team. You know, mentioning last year that they were the conference champions, you just, you know, you don't expect them to come here and just fold just due to seeding or anything like that. You expect them to come in here and play hard.
Absolutely. And for Greensboro, a team that only has 7 players active here tonight, they've lost 3 of their last 4 by a combined 93 points. But like you said, last year, 26-3, USA South champs, even made it to the NCAA tournament and faced off against NYU where they lost, but only 3 returners from that squad this season and a new head coach has made things tough as they sit as the 5 seed in the USA South 6-team field. As Petty Wilkins gets a pass to Hauser. Now Josie going to try another big one from 3, and there it is. Josie Hester knocking down another one there. 19-9 Tornado lead. Mitchell around a screen from Barino, trying to get the edge on Petty Wilkins. Now hits the brakes, goes up, and I think that one got tipped by Jada Petty Wilkins. Street has it, coming quickly up the floor, now turning around and slowing it down into the corner. Hester again, that one just a bit too strong. Hauser was nearly able to come in and grab another offensive board, but Greensboro brings it up. Mitchell might have got away with a carry there. Now Kenzie Harris going to fire a deep 2. Good contest there by Street. It hits the top of the backboard, falls into the hands of Josie Hester, and then is knocked out right at the baseline by Mitchell, but out of bounds. Last touched by Mitchell, so it'll be Tornado basketball. Josie Hester, her second make from 3, 6 points for her now. Same for her and Jada Petty Wilkins, both leading the scoring with 6 so far for the NATOs. As Street Brings in a pass from Hester. Now right back to Josie, who's going to set her feet and fire again. That one just off the mark. Josie might be getting a little bit frustrated with herself here early on. Not quite as consistent as normal from three as Roan contested three there. It's off the mark. Atwater couldn't find that one. Josie Hester with the rebound. Now Hester is going to pass this one off to Street. Street back to Josie. Petty Wilkins from deep. Jada again. That one hits the bottom of the net.
Getting hot in the Bosch.
Somebody call the fire department. Jada Petty Wilkins with her third knockdown from beyond the arc. And now stepping into one here is Hooker, and she's not able to knock it down. Petty Wilkins in transition up the floor. Moves right to left, has the ball knocked out of her hands, and Mitchell takes it away. Does not have numbers, but will still go up in a 3-on-1 and gets rejected. How about that? The ball was nearly taken away on the steal by Street. She was able to stick with it and go up, and then got sent flying by Jada Petty Wilkins.
That's at least 3 blocks in this first half for Petty Wilkins.
Couple of substitutions here. Alexis Marshall in for the first time. Hester and Petty Wilkins will both take a seat. Lexi Shepard back in. Mitchell. Inbound pass to Barino over the outstretched arm of Shepard. Now Mitchell has it back. Dribbling near the baseline. Gets it away to Barino. Instant defensive pressure. Left side, Kenzie Harris. Guarded by Street. A step back from the left side is too strong, but an offensive board is pulled in by Atwater, and she's sent stumbling on a foul. That one's on Marshall, who just checked in. And a timeout coming here. Media timeout and a chance to look at some of the stats here. Jada Petty Wilkins, 3 for 7 from deep, just over 42% for her. Also has a rebound and 2 blocks with 2 steals so far on the evening. Josie Hester with 6, Nalia Boyce with 4, and Christina Roan knocked down a 3-pointer. Those are the only 4 scores for the NATO so far. And for Hester, already 2 for 8 from 3. Really uncharacteristic from Josie, who has been shooting the rock a lot, but has had a lot of open looks. Can't really fault her for a lot of these shots she's taken, especially for someone that shot 39% from 3 throughout the regular season.
And 39%, I mean, 39-40% that's what you want to be at. That is ideal shooters numbers right there. Something I think that's worth mentioning here, Peasy. Last meeting between these two teams, Nalia Boyce had 25.
Absolutely. Nalia did get off to that fast start, scored the first 4 Tornado points. Since then, some quiet activity from her, more work on the defensive end as she sits on the bench currently. Still have not seen no Olivia Miller. And it kind of feels like one of those situations where Coach Hudson might not put her in unless he feels like he needs to get a spark, or it's absolute desperation time. So a chance that we don't see her tonight if the Tornadoes are able to handle business thoroughly, as Atwater receives it outside the 3-point line and goes over to Harris. Harris, a pass inside to Barino. Hauser on her. Barino, a dribble, a shake, a turnaround, and now a pass back into the corner. Atwater, a head fake on Marshall. She doesn't fall for it. Atwater has her pass stolen by Christina Roan. Roan speeding up the floor with Atwater right on her hip pocket. Christina moves to her left and now gets it off to Alexis Marshall. Marshall, a gift to Lexi Shepard. Shepard nudges Hauser towards her and now goes away from the screen. Over to Christina Roan. From deep again. Christina, that one just off. Rebound for Samaya Mitchell. Nearly has it taken away by Lexi Shepard, but she's able to get the pass to Atwater. Down low, Barino has some space, goes up and gets 2 more for Greensboro. 22-11 with 6:50 to go here in the second. Lexi Shepard is not a fan of whatever Michaela Street just said to her. See head coach LaQuanda Dawkins Prince for Greensboro trying to get a defensive spark here as Alexis Marshall receives a pass from Roan. Now goes around the screen. Roan over to Lexi Shepard. Right to left, has her dribble picked up. A jump ball of the possession arrow with the NATOs here. Now Nalia's going to check back in. The lunch break's over for the pest control. Or dinner break, maybe. I am a little hungry. As Nalia turning around, through contact, is able to get a pass off to Marshall, who goes inside between 3 defenders, dishes back out to Boyce, who's just short on her jumper. Shot clock was winding down. She had to take it. And so here's Tamara Hooker. Hooker with Marshall on her. has Harris setting a screen, and now she wants Atwater to come towards her. She gives Atwater the ball. Mitchell, left wing on Shepard. Moves away from the screen, goes inside, picks up her dribble, gathers her feet, and fires one up that's off the mark. A rebound by Harris, and now the ball is on the ground. Falling away is Harris. It'll be a foul on her. Looked like she might have dragged Lexi Shepard down a little bit. That's Harris's first foul. It's the first for Greensboro here in the second with 5:48 remaining until the half. NATO's leading it, doubling up Greensboro right now, technically 22-11. As Street has it up top to the left, it's Shepard. Nalia just inside the three-point line in the left corner. A pass to Roan. Quick mid-range jumper by Roan is no good. Rebound is knocked out of bounds. Last touched by Kenzie Harris. Looked like Street might have had her hand on that, but it will stay with the Tornadoes here. Lexi. Inbound bounced over to Michaela Street, who gives a head fake to Atwater and loses the basketball. A turnover there as Mitchell brings it up for Greensboro. To her left, it's Hooker. Tamara Hooker pass is knocked away and taken right back by Michaela Street. Street on the break, drops her head, goes in and gets fouled. Michaela Street, I think she was a little upset she turned that ball over. She decided to get it right back and take care of things herself.
I think I agree with you there. Street is just making street plays out here. You know, that's something we've come to see from her in her Brevard career, you know, hustle plays like that and finish at the basket.
Love a little bit of street ball. As Michaela knocks down the first free throw. Street now into the scoring. And there's her second point. You know, Michaela struggled a little bit from the free throw line this season at 47% from the stripe. A bit surprising when you consider that she is a really good shooter. Now Atwater firing a mid-range and connecting there. 24-13 here with 5 minutes to go. Street shoots 38% from three, shoots 45% from the field, but just couldn't get it together quite in the regular season from the free throw line in her sophomore year. As Nalia passes over to Lexi Shepard. Lexi going to step back and shoot a three and drill it. You don't see a lot of that from Lexi Shepard, but there's one from deep for the Tornado junior point guard.
That is a great screen there by Nalia Boyce.
Mitchell pressured by Marshall and Shepard. Now into the corner, it's Harris, who's going to take the right elbow jumper and knock it down. Yeah, Lexi from deep only shoots 27.5%. Some fate right there, though. 27-15, the score right now as Street dribbles with the left and gives to Roan. Christina diving inside and now has her pass knocked away by Harris. Nearly another Tornado turnover as Josie Hester and Jada Petty-Wilkins will check back into this one.
Here comes the bomb squad of Petty-Wilkins and Josie Hester.
Aerial attack of Hester and Jada Petty-Wilkins. See if they have some more fireworks here in the second. Petty-Wilkins over to Shepard, who goes inside and now going to stop and pop from the right side. No good. Offensive rebound, Boyce. It's no good on her second effort, but the ball's knocked over to Marshall. Jada Petty-Wilkins for three. No good. Offensive rebound, Nalia Boyce. A fourth chance for the NATOs. Hester from three. No good. And another offensive rebound. Nalia Boyce over to Petty-Wilkins. Jada, a little hesitation step, and now things slow down for the moment. Shepard wanted Boyce, still does. Trying to find the pass, and the length of Harris just getting in the way. 5 on the shot clock. Boyce going into the paint, turning around, gives to Marshall, who's going to fire up a quick shot. No good, short there. Kind of a wild little hook shot from the right side, falling away from the basket. Not a high percentage look, but Marshall did have to take it with 1 on the shot clock. Harris inside the three-point line, now back out to Hooker. Hooker in front of the Tornado bench, moving right to left on Shepard. Inside, nearly has it taken away. A foul on Lexi Shepard. She reached in. Tornadoes 9 field goals on 8 assists. 6 of the 9 field goals have been of the three-point variety. And then you look at the offensive rebounds. Tornadoes already with 10 boards on the offensive glass. Greensboro with 5 themselves.
Offensive rebounds is one of Coach Hudd's keys to success.
Number 32, Samaya Williams, is back in for Greensboro. Inside now is Hooker, and an offensive foul is going to be called here against Samaya Williams. So Jada Petty-Wilkins, the inbound coming here to Lexi Shepard. 2:54 to go in the first half. 27-15, the lead for Brevard as it stands. In the pink uniforms, Josie Hester gives off a pass to Jada Petty-Wilkins, who bounces right over to Lexi Shepard. Shepard tries to skip one into Boyce, and it's taken away. A rip of the basketball there as the pass goes to the left side. Firing and missing there is Greensboro as Petty-Wilkins brings it up the floor. Slows things down and goes over to Shepard. That was Taya Phelps on the miss a moment ago. As Petty-Wilkins going to set her feet, going to shoot another one. That one's well off the mark. Hey, we're going to credit that actually as a pass to Nalia Boyce, because despite the air ball from Jada Petty-Wilkins, it nearly landed perfectly in the basket for Nalia Boyce. So
nice little over the shoulder.
A failed assist there, we'll call it. Although the stat line will indicate it was a shot. We know better. Hooker to the left side. It's Williams. Or rather Phelps. Atwater has it. Can't decide what to do, and then gives it over to Hooker in front of the NATO bench. Hooker goes inside to Kenzie Harris, who's going to shoot a turnaround jumper. Is a bit too strong. Rebounds tipped up in the air and hauled in by Nalia Boyce. Jada Petty-Wilkins to the left. It's Alexis Marshall. Shepard to the left. Hester going to set again from three. That one is buried. Josie Hester had been 2 for 9 from beyond the arc. Now make it 3 for 10, a 30% clip. Josie taking a lot of them early. She's had a lot of open looks somehow. As Atwater trying to go around the screen, now reverts course. Now around the screen once again, firing the jumper. That one's going to bounce off the rim and into the hands of Williams, and it's knocked away. Last touch by a tornado, so it'll stay right here with 45 seconds to go.
And Josie Hester in this last matchup between Greensboro had 7 points, already has 9.
Obviously 7 points, not the output you typically expect from Josie Hester. I do believe she may have gotten injured in that game, to be fair. I know the injury for her did occur at around that time period. Hooker stepping back on Lexi Shepard. She loses it and has to chase it down. 10 on the shot clock. A pass inside to Phelps. Phelps nearly has it ripped by Shepard. Now up top it's Hooker. Hooker, a wild floater, is nearly going to fall, but it doesn't. Boyce with the rebound. She scoops over to Shepard, who has to go into the corner to grab it. Shepard over to Petty-Wilkins, who has some space. Jada to the right. Marshall from deep. That one's off the mark. Offensive rebound, Josie Hester. She goes up and she's fouled with 14 and a half remaining here in the second. Josie Hester, 2 free throws coming for her, and Josie as automatic as it gets from the free throw line, 95% on the season. Please don't make me eat those words, Josie. She knocks down the first. Greensboro, for them, they're scoreless since the 4:31 mark here in the second. Currently being outscored 15-8. Josie knocks them both down, stays true to the stat line. 32-15 with 14 and a half seconds left in the opening act. 32-15. And Harris is going to be called for an offensive foul. So the Tornadoes will end up getting the last shot here in half number 1.
Any speculations for the last shot here, Peasy?
I feel like it's going to be a 3. Don't know who.
Right now, I'm thinking it's going to be Jada Petty-Wilkins.
Petty-Wilkins moving right to left. You were right. She shoots, and that one just off the back iron as the horn sounds, and the NATOs will have to be content with a 17-point lead heading into the half, the largest lead for the Tornadoes here in half number 1, 32-15. And the Tornadoes got off to a bit of a slow start, but end up scoring 16 in both quarters. You look at the team stats. Remember, the number one point for Coach Hudson was to rebound, and the Tornadoes are winning the rebounding battle right now, 25-20. And you look at the offensive boards, 11 of those for the Tornadoes. And then when you look at fouls, only 4 fouls charged to the NATOs in that first half. Defend without fouling was the number 2 key from Coach Hudson. He also told the Tornadoes and told us that the Tornadoes needed to disrupt 9 turnovers for Greensboro in the opening half, 6 steals for the NATOs. I think they did a good job of that, Coop.
I have to agree with you there. Everything on Coach Hud's keys to success seems like the NATOs are doing everything right here often and early in this first half.
One other thing Coach Hudson told us was to execute clean offense. Only 4 turnovers in that first half for the Tornadoes, and honestly, this lead could be even bigger if the NATOs were hitting a little bit more frequently from 3. Tornadoes are the number 1 3-point team in the USA South at just over 32%, and they, for the first half, were just under 31%, 8 for 26, shooting early and often. Greensboro, on the other end, only 1 for 5 from deep, but total from the field, things not pretty for either team. Tornadoes, 27.8% from the field. Greensboro, 22%. So in terms of field goal percentages, pretty dismal on both sides. But the NATOs have got some really good efforts from a couple of individuals in the first half, including Josie Hester and Jada Petty-Wilkins. 20 combined points between those two, both 3 for 10 from beyond the arc. For Josie, also 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. For Petty-Wilkins, 2 blocks, 2 steals, 3 boards, and both of them 3 for 10 from the field, 3 for 10 from beyond the arc. Every shot's been a 3 for that duo. And then you've got Lexi Shepard with a 3 that she knocked down, one of 2 shots that she took in the first half. Nalia Boyce, bit of an uncharacteristic first half for her, for 4 points, 2 for 6. Christina Roan also 1 for 5, did knock down that 3 early on. And then we've also had Marshall and Hauser and Street check in without scoring in this one. So, Coop, what are you looking for the NATOs to do in half number 2?
In the second half, I'm looking for the NATOs here on the defensive end. Greensboro is really interested in these high elbow passes. I'm looking for the NATOs to make the entry pass to the elbow a lot harder. That's where Greensboro likes to make a living of their offense. They're not a big 3-point shooting team. They love to work inside, shoot the mid-range, and get the layups if at all possible. So I'm looking just for harder accesses to distribute the ball. And then on the offensive end, I really don't think anything is going wrong X's and O's wise. I think it's just a matter of hitting shots. We saw this last week. The NATOs struggled early, but, and you look at that second half, rattled off I believe it was 47 points or so in the second half. So I'm expecting, looking for another one of those performances from the NATOs here.
Absolutely. NATOs ended up winning that game by 34 points. Would absolutely love a 34-point win here tonight, as the NATOs are tracking for it, holding a 17-point lead at the break. 32-15 Tornadoes. In just a moment, we'll have USA South Commissioner Tom Hart on the air joining us for an exclusive USA South tournament interview. The commissioner of the conference will be on the air in just a moment. Coop will step aside, and then we'll be back, the two of us, for the second half. NATOs with a 17-point lead here in the opening round of the USA South tournament. Back here in just a moment with Commissioner Hart. Back here at the Bosch for the USA South tournament, and we've got Commissioner Tom Hart of the USA South on the air. Tom, glad to have you back here for the USA South tournament.
Brady, it's a pleasure and happy to be here.
Absolutely. The women's side of things has got some really exciting storylines across the USA South. Obviously, if you follow the USA South, you saw that the number 1 seed came down to a coin toss this weekend. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. So every sport as it relates to, and through the years, we've kind of evolved in our ability to break ties. And about 2 years ago, we added a level where we look at common opponents, but those common opponents are just in Division III. So it could be non-conference games. Obviously, we figure out stuff how it is in the conference standpoint, but then we get to a place where it's like, okay, let's look at non-conference. And then most sports have a sport-specific tiebreaker, right? So if for some reason there is no common opponent at the Division III level, or there's no other pieces we can use, we'd like to settle it on the court if possible. Unfortunately, currently in women's basketball, they don't have that sport-specific. The men do. They came up with a differential as it relates to. So
Yes,
if
sir.
you play a team twice, right? There's gonna be a difference in score. So unless you beat them by one and lose to them by one, somebody should be able to have
Right.
some sort of an advantage. But
Of course.
that's currently not the case in women's basketball. So we ended up getting to the place where we needed the coin flip, and so as opposed to heads and tails, we now have a Division III and USA South-sided coin, and did that on Instagram Live.
Absolutely. Did see that myself. And both those teams, Methodist and Southern Virginia, for those that aren't aware, Southern Virginia did get that one seed in the coin toss. Both of them went 17-1 in the conference. And the winner of this game here today, Commissioner Hart, will be heading to Buena Vista, Virginia to take on Southern Virginia fresh off a bye. Is that where you're going to be next, or are you going to be somewhere else around the conference?
That's exactly where I'm going to be. We'll be at the SVU game on Thursday. And unfortunately, timing-wise, Mary Baldwin is hosting in the men's end of things. And
Yes,
they're
sir.
probably, with the exception of Meredith and William Peace, they are the closest schools that I could potentially get to two games. But they're starting at the same time, so unfortunately I won't be able to be in two places at one time. But we'll honor SVU for their regular season championship before the game, and then get a chance to watch the winner of this game get after it.
Well, hopefully it is the Tornadoes heading to Southern Virginia, and you'll be able to see them there again. But Commissioner Hart, stepping aside from this game and aside from just women's basketball, can you tell us a little bit of what's gone on in the USA South across this academic year, some of the improvements and growth in the conference?
Well, that's a great question. One of the biggest pieces we have is going to happen in 72 hours when we're going to have our inaugural conference championship in indoor track and field. So that'll take place at JDL up in Winston-Salem. And 7 schools are on the roster for the women, and 6 men's programs will be competing in the first ever indoor championship. So that's a big thing for us. Whenever you're starting a new championship, of course, there's a lot of energy and a lot of people are interested in that.
Absolutely. Well, a lot of exciting things going on, and we've got some more sports kind of just starting up with lacrosse, baseball, and softball. And I guess my final question for you, Commissioner Hart, is what are you most looking forward to over the last couple of months here, the semester? What are you looking to accomplish as a whole, as a conference?
Right. And while, of course, we have the championships and the things that we do there, I'm also very interested and motivated to make sure we try to find value for our student athletes and other places. So at the end, in the middle of May, we're going to have a student athlete advisory committee leadership retreat, and that'll be held, I believe we're going to be in Raleigh. And we'll have leaders and speakers will come in and hopefully provide information and education to our SAC members that they can take back to their campuses. So we always try to, once a year, get together with those student athletes and find ways to do leadership there. So that's something that's pretty exciting, that we always look forward to having the representatives from Brevard and the other 9 institutions get together.
Absolutely. Well, about 7 minutes until the two teams start the action back in the second half. That was USA South Commissioner Tom Hart. And Tom, always a pleasure to have you on the broadcast. Second year in a row that we've been able to have you on the call here, and we're just a couple of moments away from second half basketball. Thanks again for joining us.
It's a pleasure. Let's get after it.
Thank you. I try my best. Just about 2 minutes away from second half action here from the Bosch. You see Olivia Miller down there warming up a little bit. Still yet to see her. Not sure if we will see her. I think right now, the way that it's gone, it seems a little bit more likely that we see her if we advance to Southern Virginia on Thursday. But to be determined. And then the Tornadoes in the second half here, they're looking to be a little bit more consistent from three-point land. 8 for 26 in that first half. And I had Commissioner Tom Hart ask me if we always take that many threes, and I had to say yes. And we're the number one three-point shooting team in the conference, so it works. But the Tornadoes, 8 for 26, not exactly where you want to be. 10 for 36 from the field, especially not where you want to be. But some of that is inflated due to the second, third, and even fourth chance opportunities we saw the Tornadoes get in that opening half. And Coop, I'm looking to see a little bit more on Aaliyah Boyce in the second half. I think she's got a good matchup down there in the paint, and I think that she could be a little bit more aggressive in half number 2.
I'm right here with you on that. And it's not that she's not getting her looks. She's just being very passive. She's just being open to her teammates, kicking out, dishing out, which is what you need to do sometimes. But also there's times where I feel like you could be a little more selfish in situations.
100%. Tornadoes leading at 32-15 as the two teams regroup over towards the benches. And they're just about ready to get things going. Head coach Donald Hudson reached victory for his career number 90 on Saturday, looking to make it 91 here tonight, and then hopefully still a few more yet to come.
Hats off to Coach Hud. And just to touch on the Olivia Miller situation, I think that Olivia's dressed tonight just to kind of stay engaged. Not saying that she's not engaged with the team, but I think, this is just to kind of get ready for the further part of the year, just to, kind of cheer on your teammates, because it means more cheering for your teammates with your uniform on versus off. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Kind of feel a bit more a part of it as to being in sweatpants or a jumper or whatever it may be. So we'll see. Got 20 minutes to decide if we will have another Tornado women's basketball game this season. So far, trending towards yes with a 32-15 lead. Shepard brings in the inbound to start off half number 2, and immediately a whistle is blown. The clock issue, it seems. And the last China Poundsy to throw in another inbound. Lexi has it again here. Tornadoes starting the second half up by 17 in the tournament. Josie Hester floats a pass into Boyce. It's way over her head and off the hands of Barrino. Lexi Shepard comes diving in to save it, is able to, puts up a shot, and it's no good. It gets knocked out, and we'll stay right here with Brevard. Tornadoes energy. That would be the one word I would use to talk about tonight so far, is energy. Because it hasn't been the prettiest game, but the Tornadoes have been by far the more faster and physical team on the floor so far, as that one's kicked, and we'll try again. Lexi looking, still has nothing, and it's knocked up in the air. A 5-second violation, so it doesn't matter, but that was really good inbound defense by Samaya Mitchell, who brings it up for Greensboro on their first possession of the second half. Mitchell, left to right, goes up top to Kenzie Harris. Harris spinning around between defenders, has her shot knocked away in a travel. It stayed in her hands, so they're going to deem it a walk. Was not wedged loose by neither Boyce or Petty Wilkins. Shepard over to Pouncey as she barks out instructions. To the left side, Josie Hester. Now Jada Petty Wilkins has a screen. Goes around it, engages inside, puts her head down, puts it up, gets a layup and the foul. Lets out a scream. Jada Petty Wilkins playing a really good game so far. 11 points for Petty Wilkins, a chance to make it 12 here at the line. Petty Wilkins is able to convert the three-point play. And it's a 35-15 Tornado lead. 23 combined points already for Josie Hester and Jada Petty Wilkins. As Mitchell away from a screen, gets inside, has it swatted away by Nalia Boyce. Nalia was a step behind her but was able to knock it out of the hands. Shepard looks for a pass, corner. Hester, three-pointer, in and out. Boyce knocks it out. It'll go Greensboro's way. And now the inbound to Atwater. Atwater to the right side, it's Hooker. Now Barrino. Gonna face up on Boyce and fire a jumper, too strong. Hits the glass, then the back of the rim, and Tornado crowd giving her a little bit of heat for that one. Shot it really hard as Shepard drives inside and has it ripped away by Mitchell. And this has been a nice little matchup of two kind of pesky athletic guards, Shepard and Mitchell, two what I would describe as scrappy players, as Kenzie Harris goes inside on Petty Wilkins, hits the brakes and fires up a shot that hits.
I'll have to agree with you there, Peasy. Kind of similar play styles there in their identity on the court, as you'd say.
And, Lexi does it subtly, but is not afraid to let an opponent know when she's not a fan. As Pouncey has it and passes it off the back of Jada Petty Wilkins, and it's stolen. Atwater, 3-on-3 break, as Atwater is going to hit the transition mid-range. 16-point game after that make, 35-19, 2.5 minutes into the third. As a dangerous pass there is able to find its way to Nalia Boyce off of a bounce. Shepard, left wing, Mitchell steps up on her. Lexi, inside, puts up the layup, cannot finish. Man, feels like that's happened a lot lately. Lexi Shepard gets a good look at the cup and seems to have it and just is unable to finish. Hooker to the right side is Atwater. And now has a pass taken away. China Pouncey on the fast break. 2-on-2. Pouncey, Shepard, back to China. It's knocked away. Some sloppy offense on both ends as Hooker swings to the corner. Mitchell inside on Shepard. Pumps the brakes, now goes over to Harris. Harris into the lane, puts up a layup and finishes.
I think we had a miscommunication, or I think the NATOs had a miscommunication down there underneath the basket just now.
14-point lead for the NATOs. They led it by 17 at the half as Lexi has her pass knocked away by Mitchell, but it gets over to Boyce. Boyce turning around, working on Barrino, trying to get positioning. You saw her hooking a little bit. She loses the ball, and nobody else touched it, so it's a Tornado turnover as Lexi Shepard will come out. Christina Roan in for the first time here in the second half. Tanaya Atwater brings it up. Hooker, now Barrino. A deep two from the left side, no good. Rebound bounces right to Boyce, and Christina Roan is off and running, realizes she doesn't have numbers, and now goes to her left. Petty Wilkins, Jada from deep, just off the mark to the right, but the offensive rebound ripped away by Josie Hester. It's on the ground, corner, Boyce, deep two, yes! Man, this Tornado offense just has a never-ending motor, don't they?
I'll have to agree with you. They just never stop coming, but that's the identity of this NATO's team, tough and gritty.
Sort of some bad boy Pistons vibes as Atwater fires a three. It's off the mark, but the offensive rebound goes right to Harris, who can't convert the second chance opportunity. That's as good of a look as she's going to get after grabbing an offensive board, and she's not able to sink it. Roan over to Petty Wilkins, retreats to grab it. Now moves to her left and finds Pouncey. China finds some space, goes in, and is just unable to get that layup. China was moving really quick there. That first step is killer. Mitchell around a screen from Harris, now all the way to the right side, gives to Barrino. Barrino, a floater, too strong, rebound to Leah Boyce. Jada Petty Wilkins has it. And now Roan. Christina calls out the play, gives over to China Pouncey. Petty Wilkins bounces, and it's taken away by Mitchell, who's fouled by Christina Roan. Christina hacked her hard from behind. That's only the first Tornado foul here, more than halfway through the third quarter. Greensboro head coach LaQuanda Dawkins-Prince wants a timeout. More on her, actually. Instead of stepping away, So LaQuanda Dawkins-Prince came in as the new head coach this season after last year's coach, Heather Macy, left for D2 Barry University. And Heather Macy actually also the all-time leading winningest coach at East Carolina University. So East Carolina, and then is at Greensboro, took Greensboro to a 26-3 record, a USA South championship, and even an NCAA tournament appearance where they lost to NYU. That team went 26-3, but they only have 3 returners from that team, and that's Natalia Atwater, Tamara Hooker, and Azaria Barrino. Those are the only 3 from last year's team. Everybody else, or really I should say the other 4 players, are new faces here for the Pride, and obviously a bit of a tough time dealing with that. They went 7-18, but still managed to make the tournament because of a 7-11 conference record. Every single victory Greensboro got this season was within the confines of the USA South. But when you're in the dance, you always have a chance. Things still looking the NATO's way right now, leading by 16. Just over 5 minutes into quarter number 3. Inbound goes to Mitchell. Petty Wilkins on Mitchell, who's had Shepard guarding her most of the game. Shepard on the bench right now. Jada's been playing some really good defense. Couple of steals and blocks. Three-pointer there by Atwater is too strong. Rebound hauled in by China Pouncey, who has it knocked out of her hands but is able to chase it down and draw a foul on Kenzie Harris. You know, Harris, I've seen some good things from her. She's a freshman out of Greensboro, and oh, here we go, folks. It's Miller time. Olivia Miller into the ball game for the first time, and Coach Hudson sensing that he wants a little bit more of a spark. Possibly she told him she was good to go, but once again, it is Miller time in the Bosch. Olivia passes into Hester, immediately trying to get in on the assist action as Josie goes up through contact, misses, gets it back, goes up through contact again, and is fouled. 2 free throws coming here for Hester. Josie still yet to score here in half number 2. Has only taken 1 shot. How about Olivia Miller back in? Miller, 13 points per game, 6 rebounds a game, and nearly 3 assists per game on 52% from the field. As Josie misses the first free throw, is upset with herself. And I think Olivia Miller was as good of a lock as it gets for the USA South All-Conference team prior to her injury.
I got to say, it sure is good to see her back out here on the court.
Second free throw is good. And it's a 38-21 lead for the Tornadoes. Atwater working on her own, gets by her with that first step, now pivots, turns around, and barely gets it into Hooker, who takes one from the corner, no good. Rebound to Leah Boyce, and now Christina Roan off and running. Roan, they're alerting 11. They don't want Jada Petty Wilkins getting a shot. Miller, pass to Hester from deep. Josie, there it is!
Bang!
Josie Hester, her 4th make from downtown in 11 tries. And it's a 20-point Tornado lead. Mitchell to Barrino, hesitates, now gives to Atwater in front of the Greensboro bench. Pass sails past the intended target and into the hands of Aaliyah Boyce. Hester now puts her head down, drives into the lane, left side Miller. Olivia, a couple of dribbles, bounces to Boyce. Boyce backing down on Barrino, now into the corner Hester. Josie, can she do it again? No good, too strong there, but an offensive rebound, Roan, who throws one up and is not able to find it. Barrino has the basketball, and it's going Greensboro's way with 3:05 to go here in the third, a 41-21 ball game. That one there, too strong from Hooker, and Mitchell swarms in to get a second chance opportunity. Mitchell into the lane, pass outside, Williams, it's blocked, but a foul. That's the first time we've seen an offensive player for Greensboro really go at Olivia Miller since she checked in. Well, something to monitor how active she'll be in trying to contest shots with that broken left index finger. Shania Hauser will come in to get Aaliyah Boyce. It'll be interesting even to see here on the free throws if there's a miss, if Miller attempts to go get that rebound really all out. A miss there on the first. It's Williams at the line. And she hits second. That's the first point for Williams. He's only played 5 minutes. Roan goes at Hooker, now gives to Miller. Miller driving inside, goes up with the layup, can't finish, but an offensive rebound, Shania Hauser. Josie pops from the mid-range, rebound knocked up in the air by Miller, and it's going to stay with the NATOs. Last touch by Greensboro. So if there's kind of the answer to our question on how aggressive Olivia Miller is going to be, you see she wants to win. The answer is very. Not that we expected anything different, but playing through an injury like that, even if it is just a finger, is painful. As Roan puts the spin cycle on, goes up and gets fouled. Christina Roan, a couple of dance moves there underneath the goal, and she's able to earn 2 free throws. 41-22 the score as the first free throw rattles in and out. Christina, an 80% free throw shooter, pretty consistent. One of the highest marks on the team. And she goes over as the rebound's going to bounce all the way to Hooker near midcourt. Hooker on the fast break is going to be whistled for a travel. She kind of left the ground, tried to fire one off, and did take a step before passing it. Didn't dribble, I should say. It's Roan. Over to Petty Wilkins. Now Hauser. Fits it into Miller. Olivia's fouled. That'll be the 5th foul on the Pride, so I believe it's bonus time, and 2 free throws coming for Olivia Miller. A chance to get into the scoring. First free throw for Miller is good, so how about that? A loud cheer for her from that bench. They're happy for her and being able to get in there and compete. As she hits the second, a perfect trip to the free throw line for Olivia Miller there.
The finger does not seem to be a hindrance for Miller.
Hester guarding on Mitchell, who goes around the screen. Left side, it's Phelps. Bounce into Barrino. Back to Phelps. She'll shoot the 3. That one's off the mark, but the rebound chased down by Mitchell. Samaya Mitchell, big energy player. Left side goes up top to Hooker. Hooker back out to Mitchell, who gives it, and it's taken away. Petty Wilkins, her 3rd steal. Jada on the fast break, goes up and cannot finish. Tried to draw the contact, referee did not see it, and now Petty Wilkins races from behind and gets nearly another steal, and does get a steal. Or at least a turnover from Greensboro. It'll be going the other way. How about that? You saw Jada Petty Wilkins miss the layup and did not miss a beat. Took off down the court behind, I believe that was Hooker. Behind Hooker, who raced up the court there, and Jada just stayed with her the whole time, was able to knock it out from behind all the way here on the other end of the floor. The energy and hustle have been maybe at a season high for the NATOs here tonight, which is what you want at this time of year. USA South Tournament. Roan in traffic, gives to Petty Wilkins. Jada, a long pass over to Miller, who goes up to get it. Olivia, feeling herself, drives in, now passes out to Street in the corner. Michaela puts her head down, goes up, and that one's no good. Off the mark on the layup. Fighting for the ball is Barrino and Hauser, but the possession arrow does point towards Greensboro. And if you remember, the last game that Olivia played was January 30th. So 3 weeks ago against Pfeiffer. First time playing in 3 weeks and as aggressive as ever. As Hooker gets past Roan, fires a mid-range jumper. It's in and out. Rebound just brought in by Michaela Street on the baseline. Tiptoeing the line there. Street goes right at Mitchell. Going to the cup. That one too strong on the layup, and now a foul against Hauser. It'll be the 3rd NATO foul with 43 seconds remaining in the 3rd. 43-22, the lead for the NATOs right now. And Shania's first foul. Now Hooker takes a look up at the clock as it continues to run with 35 seconds here in the 3rd. Phelps gives over to Atwater. Roan on her. Gets a screen. Now goes back up top. Phelps. Straight away 3 is good. So Greensboro hits one from beyond the arc. Before that one, they were 1 for 9 from deep. Now 2 for their first 10 as the clock winds down here in the 3rd. Street goes inside and does get that finish. Michaela Street stays with it. Now a half-court heave is well off the mark for Hooker. A big basket there to make it a 20-point game as we head to the fourth by Michaela Street. NATO's trending towards a third straight year in the second round of the USA South Tournament. Back for the final quarter in just a moment. Final quarter of action here in the first round of the USA South Tournament. Third straight year that the NATOs are looking to win a home playoff game in the opening round. Looking to make it further than they have, though. Lost in the semifinals each of the last 2 years as Olivia Miller has Barrino on her. Now takes a couple of dribbles and goes over to Roan. Christina spinning around on Mitchell, stepping back now behind the three-point line, goes over to Olivia Miller. Street on the right side, guarded up by Atwater. Street puts her head down, has the ball knocked up in the air, and a foul. First foul on Greensboro here, the fourth, with 9:37 remaining. NATO's leading at 45-25, a 20-point lead here with less than 10 minutes to go. NATO's trying to punch their ticket to Buena Vista, Virginia. Unless they are upset by William Peace, that is, as Street passes the left side, Marshall. Miller crosses over, now puts up a mid-range, and Olivia Miller just misses that one and is able to poke it away. Barrino fighting for it. It's on the ground in the backcourt, and Atwater has it for Greensboro. Atwater doubled, ball's ripped away, and it's on the ground. Shania Hauser has it. A turnover. Street racing up the floor quickly now pumping the brakes behind the back. Street brings Marshall towards her. And now Marshall looks around and gives to Street with 6 on the shot clock. Street driving inside, a foul. Basket won't count, shot won't count. It'll be on the floor. 8:49 to go here in the fourth, 45-25. And now a 5-second violation on Roan. Roan couldn't get the pass in. Now Greensboro will take back over. 8:45 to go. NATO still holding on to a 20-point cushion. As Phelps has it up top, guarded by Miller. Hooker now with Street jumping in front of her, gets it to Barrino. Turns around, trying to find space on Hauser. She draws a foul. How about this? Not sure if it'll stay this way, but the Meredith Avenging Angels, the 8-17 Meredith Avenging Angels, with a lead at the end of the first quarter over 20-5, 17-1 in Conference Methodist.
Interesting.
And then Southern Virginia absolutely blowing the doors off of William Peace in the first quarter, 26-6, as Azaria Barrino hits the first free throw. 26-6, goodness. And North Carolina Wesleyan already punched their ticket to the second round. Both free throws good for Barrino. A 69-54 victory for Wesleyan in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, round one action. Now Roan. Over to Miller. A bounce to Olivia, who turns around, it goes up, and gets the basket. Now here's Mitchell. Bounces to the right side, Hooker. Roan right on her. Mitchell has it again, goes inside, draws a foul, puts up a shot, but it's no good. So a kind of different approach here for Greensboro here in the fourth, sensing that they need to do something different if they want to stay in this game. They're going right into the chest of these Tornado defenders trying to draw fouls.
And we've seen this set all night from Greensboro, you know, where they have two people at the elbows and then they try to come off a screen. I just think if you're the NATOs, you know, if you're here, I think you try to make that entry pass a little bit more difficult so they can initiate their offense, because I've really yet to see Greensboro do anything other than the entry pass to the elbow.
100%. First free throw is off the mark, but the second one hits home for Mitchell. It's a 19-point ball game. Less than 8 minutes to go. NATO's looking to get in around number 2. Street hands to Miller. Miller has a screen, now takes it in herself. Looking around, she goes over to Roan. Dangerous pass. Last touched by Mitchell, who was able to get in there and disrupt it in front of the Tornado bench. High arcing inbound pass to Roan, and Mitchell gives her a little bit of contact, a little bit too much. Deemed by the officials a foul. The Tornadoes have had struggles at a couple of different points in this game inbounding the basketball. That's one thing I'll give Greensboro credit for on the defensive end, is harassing those inbound passes. Still a 19-point lead for the NATOs. No need to panic in any sense. Street hands to Christina Roan, who goes behind the back, showing off a little bit of dribble work there. Now goes right at Mitchell, and she's fouled. Mitchell kind of looked like when Christina went to put up the shot, she kind of just got a hand on her and took her down. Pretty obvious one there. That's the third foul for Samaya Mitchell. It's the fourth for Greensboro. And Mitchell, a couple of fouls away from being out of here. As Roan buries the first. Remember, she was 0 for 2 that first trip to the line, trying to make up for that here. And the second one off the mark, too. Rebound is brought in by Hooker, who is able to split Miller and Roan and pass over to Mitchell. Mitchell floats it up, too strong. Rebound, fought for by Miller, but it'll stay with Greensboro after a foul. Looks like that one's on Hauser. She kind of pleads her case. Now Kenzie Harris will come back in for Greensboro. A lot of shots taken by Hester and Petty Wilkins, both of which are not in right now. NATO's trying to find some offense in other places, as that one is going to be an and one. Azaria Barrino went up on the mid-range, got the contact, and drilled the shot with a chance for one more. Here's an Aaliyah Boyce. Once again, the break for the pest control is over. Business hours have resumed.
Let's see how pest control does fresh off a break.
Free throw good, so a three-point play for Greensboro. And it's a 17-point Tornado lead as the clock continues to tick. 7:09 to go here in the fourth. Christina Roan around a screen from Boyce, a hard screen. She fires the two and drills it. Christina Roan was struggling prior to that one. 1 for 6 from the field. Now make it 2 for 7 and 2 more Tornado points. Hooker, defended by Roan, gets it over to Harris. Marshall on her. Harris puts up a left-handed shot. It's off the mark. Ball is on the ground, and Michaela Street's going to take it away. A group of players there fighting for the rebound. Michaela Street was the one that got it. Now she puts on a move. Basket will not count. She got hacked there by Mitchell, I believe, again. That's her fourth. That's her fourth. One more and she's gone. Street wanted the and one. She got hacked before she started that move, though. And no. Okay, no, it's bonus now for the Tornadoes. Fifth foul, so 2 free throws coming here for Michaela Street. Basket does not count. And Street hits the first free throw. And Street hits them both. Street both times to the line tonight has been perfect. Remember, we mentioned that 47% free throw clip in the regular season. She's picked it up here in this one in her 2 trips. Mitchell still in and still being aggressive as she gives over to Barrino, who knocks down the free throw line jumper. Azaria Barrino is kind of shouldering the load for this Greensboro offense so far in the 4th. Olivia Miller has it, goes to her left, Christina Roan. Street now over to Marshall. Street, a deep 3-ball, buried!
Puts it in.
Michaela knocks that one down from way down the street, and it is 55-33 here in the Bosch. Mitchell into the corner. It's Phelps, and now she gives to Barrino, who's going to pull a deep one and hits it off the glass. So an answer there from Azaria Barrino, who's really starting to heat up.
The NATOs, who have really struggled to find rhythm in the second half, these last 3 possessions are starting to come on here.
Miller over to Roan. Deep try for her. That one's off the mark. Rebound knocked over to Phelps, and now here's Mitchell. A whistle, and Kenzie Harris is in pain holding her fingers over there, but it looks like she'll be good to stay in. You look at Barrino. She's the leading scorer for Greensboro. Only shoots 34%, not the most efficient, but just under 11 points per game, the highest output of any Greensboro College Pride player. A timeout with 5:20 to go, 55-36. NATO's leading it by 19 as we head towards the end of this one. NATO's seeking a trip to the second round for a 3rd straight year. Back here with 5:20 to go. NATO's leading at 55-36, a 19-point lead here with 5:19 now and counting remaining in this one. 55-36 the score as Mitchell goes at Street, now dumps it off into the corner. Now Barrino, guarded by Boyce. Barrino steps back, a deep 2. That one's off the mark. Her first miss in some time as the rebound's knocked up in the air. A juggling act there by Nalia Boyce. And how about the save by Christina Roan? Michaela Street takes it now after an athletic display from Christina Roan. Roan to the right. It's Street. Now Miller. Roan. Boyce. Left side up top, it's Marshall. Pass to Street. Charges inside again. Michaela Street, that one no good. Rebound Barrino, who seems to be the source of everything for Greensboro right now. Hooker inside, has some space, and Miller with the late contest, but Barrino right there to get the second chance.
14 points for Barrino.
Barrino playing really well down the stretch here for Greensboro, but they still got some work to do. Down 17 with 4 minutes to go. Roan on Mitchell, who's got to be careful here. And she's able to stop from fouling as Street has it up top. Now hands to Roan, who kind of takes that one off her shoulder and fires from deep. A loud miss there, and the rebound pulled in by Phelps. Mitchell in transition up to Hooker. Hooker stepping back. A 3 is good.
It's a tough shot.
So Hooker able to get this one down to 14 with 3:26 to go. Not quite out of the woods are the Tornadoes. Street spinning around. Hops. Pass over to Miller and a travel. A media timeout coming here. 55-41, a 14-point ball game with 3:18 remaining. NATO's close to sealing a 3rd straight second-round berth in the USA South tournament. Back here in just a moment. 3:18 to go, 55-41 the score. As Greensboro trying to get this one closer down the stretch and give themselves a fighter's chance. See Michaela Street sitting there talking and laughing about something with Jada Petty-Wilkins. Josie Hester and Petty-Wilkins both back out on the floor now. As Mitchell hands over to Atwater, whose pass is knocked away. Jada Petty-Wilkins on the fast break. Left side, she'll retreat. And now she'll take a deep jumper there off the mark, too strong. Rebound Hooker, 2:50 to go. Hooker has numbers and now takes a three of her own. That one short, and it'll go right back to the NATOs. Petty-Wilkins slows it down. Marshall dribbling right on that BC logo. 2:30 remaining. Not in any rush as Hester gets the basketball and gets a screen from Boyce. Josie back to Nalia, who goes to her right, Alexis Marshall. Marshall hands to Street. Street, 4 on the shot clock, down low. Boyce goes up and gets it.
Pest control. There it is. Mouse in the house.
Nalia Boyce, 8 points for her, 4 in each half. And now Hooker has it. Down by 16 with 2 minutes to go. NATO's closing in on a victory. Stepping back behind the three-point line and firing is Hooker, who cannot get the bounce. NATO's getting closer and closer to a victory here in round number 1. 1:45 to go. Alexis Marshall moves to her right, gets a screen from Boyce, and now an offensive foul. They are going to say that Nalia Boyce was moving a little bit there. That's Tornado's 5th foul, so 2 free throws coming for Greensboro. Which does help keep them alive just a bit longer. Could make it a 14-point game with 1:36 to go, and actually no free throws. They're going to say that was foul number 4 on Greensboro, not number 5. As inside goes Barino, and her pass is knocked away by Josie Hester right over towards the camera woman down there. See Josie Hester out here about to hurt people, sending things flying. As Harris gives over to Barino, who shoots a left wing 3 and drills it.
17 points for Barino. Leads all scores.
A 13-point lead for the NATOs with 1:14 to go. Tornadoes can feel it. Coach Hudson closing in on his 3rd postseason victory of the NCAA era, 3rd ever in the NCAA era for Brevard College, as Marshall is going to be fouled by Atwater there. Free throws coming for Marshall. It's the 4th foul for Atwater. And how about the encouragement of seeing Olivia Miller out there on the floor and making some impactful plays in her first game in 3 weeks. Obviously a quick turnaround with the next game being Thursday, but you got to feel good about what you saw from number 10.
Oh, for sure. Out here, giving all the energy in the world, really showing no signs of hinder from that finger, honestly.
Absolutely. Marshall goes 1 for 2 from the line. It's a 14-point game with a minute to go. Tornadoes can taste it as Mitchell goes right at Street and gets fouled. No, a jump ball. Possession arrow does stay with the Pride, so it doesn't matter. Mitchell inbound here to Barino, who fires a quick 2. She's too strong with it, but Mitchell gets the offensive board, takes her own left elbow jumper. And it's no good. The rebound goes to Boyce. Now Hester. And now Marshall has it. Marshall, 34 seconds. Left to right. Guarded by Mitchell, and obviously trying to milk this clock as much as possible. With 25 seconds left, Petty-Wilkins is going to be aggressive and get a finish. A basket, now a whistle. Let's see, what was the call there? Must be something to do with the clock. Basket will still stand.
So are we expecting a shot attempt here by Greensboro, or just kind of just dribble out the clock?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you want to end the season on a make. That'll be answered here in a second. Barrino is going to fire one. No good. Offensive rebound, Mitchell, who goes up and gets one final basket. So there you go. They will end the season on a make. That makes this one a 14-point ball game, but the horn will sound for the third straight year. The Tornadoes are heading to the second round of the USA South Tournament, a place where they've lost the past 2 years, and hopefully the third time's a charm for head coach Donald Hudson and company.
We can only hope there, but I have faith in this NATO's team here, Peasy. You know, they have just showed resilient actions all year long from this team, and you know, I just like them. So you know, I think things could go their way. I really do.
It's looking like the NATOs almost surely are going to be headed to Buena Vista, Virginia, to take on Southern Virginia, who leads 45-15 over William Peace in the second quarter of action. Methodist is holding a slim 6-point lead at the half over Meredith, so a game to watch there. Methodist, who did lose that coin toss to become the 2 seed, they are still playing in their home gym right now. As for the NATOs, a 60-46 victory, moving on likely against Southern Virginia, as we said. North Carolina Wesleyan, the other team that will be in round number 2 in the USA South, getting a victory over Pfeiffer earlier this evening. 60-46, NATO's getting the victory. Josie Hester with 15 points, Jada Petty-Wilkins with 14, and 29 combined points between those two, Coop.
And then I'm seeing here, Peasy, that the Bomb Squad tandem had 7 threes.
7 threes, absolutely. 7 threes for that duo in 24 tries, actually. Maybe not the most efficient night from deep, but when you can shoot it, you can shoot it, and they were letting it fly, both of them, here tonight. Also got some nice contributions and some timely baskets from Nalia Boyce, who had 11 rebounds, 8 points and 11 rebounds in 30 minutes, 4 for 8 from the floor for Nalia Boyce. And then aside from those three, it was really a collective team effort. There was a three-pointer knocked in by Lexi Shepard. That was the only field goal she had on the night. 4 points for Olivia Miller, who obviously was coming back for the first time in 3 weeks off of the injury. And then Christina Roan, 6 points for her. 9 points for Michaela Street. Actually, somehow skimmed over that a little bit. 4 boards and 9 points in only 18 minutes for Michaela Street. You take a look at the team stats and kind of what Coach Hudson wanted to see. Number one is rebounding. Although a slim margin, the Tornadoes did win that rebounding battle. When he said to defend without fouling, the Tornadoes did a pretty good job of that. Only 12 fouls called in the entire ball game on the Tornadoes. And then clean offense was another one. Tornadoes kind of amped it up a little bit with the turnovers in the second half, but still won the turnover battle 17-13. And then you look at the steals that the Tornadoes had. 12 steals in this one for the NATOs and a 60-46 victory. Coop, the NATOs are moving on to round number 2, likely against the Southern Virginia Knights. And obviously that would be a road game, but if it is a road game and this is your last time on the call, it's been a pleasure having you on. And to all those listening at home, get used to hearing this voice. Weston Coop next year for the Tornadoes will be kind of taking my place, kind of filling my shoes, if you will.
Yes, sir, Peasy. I got to say, I appreciate you having me on here, man. It's been fun. I've enjoyed learning under you, and honestly, I've enjoyed all games I've done with you, sir.
Absolutely, Coop. The feeling is mutual. 60-46, NATO victory. In just a moment, we will have head coach Donald Hudson and Josie Hester on for some post-game interviews in a third straight opening round victory for the Tornadoes in the USA South Tournament. Back here in just a few from the Bosch. back here from the Bosch. And the first person we're going to hear from after this victory is the engineer of the victory, head coach Donald Hudson. Coach, first off, congratulations on a third straight opening round victory in the USA South tournament.
Yeah, appreciate it, Brady. Thanks, man. And being at home these last 3 years for the first round has definitely been something that we've shot for throughout the season. You know, we definitely would like to play as many games in the postseason here as possible. We get a really good crowd, and the crowd gets behind us, and we play well here. You know, I want to give a shout-out and a hats off to Greensboro. You know, that team is young. They didn't have a lot of depth tonight, but over the last month, they've played some good basketball. You know, so we knew coming into this thing that it wasn't going to be something where they came in and laid down. We were going to have to work for it, you know. And so hats off to them. They got a bright future ahead of them.
100%. Coach, you kind of alluded to it. This is a Greensboro team that came in tonight, even if they were shorthanded, as the USA South defending champions. Went 26-3 last year. Obviously, you know, had a coaching change and only had 3 returners, so a young squad. But you guys, on the other hand, this is kind of becoming an annual thing, making this tournament, getting a home game in the tournament. And I remember 2 years ago now, after you guys beat Maryville, having you up here in this exact same spot, and you talking about how this is just the beginning, and you've stayed true to your word, and a third straight year winning in the opening round, now looking to take it further. What is your approach going to be against Southern Virginia in the second round?
Right now, tonight, we're going to enjoy this one. We'll get on the floor tomorrow and practice and travel to Buena Vista on tomorrow and play them on Thursday. But it's a game where, at their place, didn't get our best shot. But when they came here the second time around, we definitely had a chance to win. You know, ball bounces a different way, 1 or 2 possessions. That's our ball game, okay? So we're going to watch the film tomorrow, be ready to go. Probably won't do a ton on the practice floor. You know, around this time of year, legs are heavy. And as you can see, we're dealing with a ton of injuries already. So we would hate for something to happen to somebody tomorrow in practice. So we'll probably walk through some stuff, be ready to guard their actions. And the biggest thing is, to me, is going to be rebounding in that game. That's a big team. They have a lot of length and some big 4s and 5s down there, so we got to be able to rebound. Like, I have no doubt that we'll get the stops. We'll get the stops, but once the ball goes up, shot hits that backboard and that rim, we've got to box out and take the fight to them. Right?
Absolutely.
And around this time of year, you just ask to be playing your best basketball, and my team has picked it up. You know, even shorthanded at times, we've competed at a very, very high level. And then when you play hard and you defend, really good defensive game for us tonight. Didn't shoot it as well as I would like to. We've been really, really reliant on the 3-ball over like the last 2.5 weeks. You know, and when it goes, it's really good for us. And when it doesn't, from time to time, you can see us struggle offensively. But with the way they played tonight, they played a zone, and the 3 was our best shot a lot of times. So I didn't want to tell the team to turn them down. You know, if you get a good look, we practice those shots. Get your feet set, hold your follow through, and if it doesn't go, we get back. But anytime we're open like that versus a zone and the right shooters are taking the shots, I'm all okay with it.
100%, Coach. And you mentioned that the team has been more injured this year and a lot more banged up than in previous seasons. As a matter of fact, probably your 4 best players all dealt with injuries throughout the season, and some still are. And one of those is Olivia Miller, who we saw on the floor for a little bit tonight. And you had to have liked what you saw from her coming off of not playing in 3 weeks. What's kind of going forward, the strategy with Olivia Miller?
She got a practice in yesterday. Just got cleared yesterday. So she got a practice in, and we'll get her another one in tomorrow. I didn't want to throw her out there and force her into certain minutes. I wanted it to be the right time to put her out there. But while she was out there, I thought she was fine. You know, she rebounded, she defended, deflected balls, and got a basket to go, got to some good shots. So we'll look forward to what she can do for us on Thursday. But it'll start tomorrow in practice. You know, get her another one and get her back used to playing with the group. Because like you said, it's been a while. It's been like, 3.5 weeks?
3 weeks, I think, to the date against Pfeiffer.
Yeah. And since then, we've played a lot of basketball, a lot of practices and a lot of games without her. So it's going to take some time, which we really don't have, to integrate her back into the lineup. But I thought she was fine tonight.
100%, Coach. You talked about that rebounding battle. You guys were able to win that rebounding battle. And another thing that was one of your keys to the game was to disrupt and to kind of get Greensboro off of what they wanted to do. And especially in the first half, it seemed like you guys really did that. I think it was 12 or 13 forced turnovers in the first half with 8 steals. So talk a little bit about the defensive approach and how that was able to work to a T tonight.
Yeah, we talk about being handsy. Like being handsy, using your hands and deflecting passes and just disrupting the offense. Like a deflection takes time off of the shot clock. A deflection forces the offense to kind of gather and try to reorganize themselves. And sometimes those deflections lead to transition attempts for us. So we really, really want to disrupt passing lanes and deflections. And I think we had about 9 kills tonight. The team keeps up with it on the sideline. And anytime you get that many kills, you're going to give yourself a good chance to win the game. And going down the stretch, these next 2, we got to be able to lead on our defense. Like, we're going on the road. You know, I don't know if we're going to shoot it well or not, but we've got to defend at a really high level, and I trust that my team will. They're locked in for the run.
100%, Coach, and you just sound like a confident coach in your group right now. Obviously, you guys have been here before, but still kind of have that hungry underdog vibe going against that number 1 team, a team that you could have had the last time. And I just want to ask you before we let you go, what feels different about this year's team compared to the 2 that lost in the semifinals the past 2 seasons?
I mean, we've just been there. You know, we've been there. We've felt it. You know, we know what it's like to be on the road when an opposing team goes on a run and the crowd kind of gets into it. Now we got to call a timeout maybe and look at each other and keep our poise in the huddle. You know, unlike previous years where that was new to us, we've kind of been against that before. You know we got our work cut out for us no matter who we're playing. Anybody left right now can win it. You know, I don't know what the rest of the scores look like throughout the USA South, but if you're around in that last 4, you can win it. You know, anybody left. So we know we got our work cut out for us, but we're ready. We're ready for it.
100%, Coach. Well, semifinal bound for the 3rd straight year, a victory tonight over Greensboro. Congratulations once again, and best of luck to Southern Virginia, or to you against Southern Virginia, not to Southern Virginia. I got to clear that up.
I got you.
Coach Donald Hudson on the air. We'll have Josie Hester here in just a moment. Don't go anywhere, folks. Tornadoes with a first-round victory.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Folks, back here from the Bosch, we will have Josie Hester on here momentarily, but I want to take a look at the bracket for the USA South women's side of the tournament. North Carolina Wesleyan got a victory to advance to round number 2 where they will face the winner of Meredith and Methodist, which is a lot closer game than some might have anticipated heading into it. Methodist 17-1 in the conference this year and only leading by 6 at the start of the third quarter. They trailed at the end of the first and then got off to a 15-6 second quarter, so they have the lead there at home over Meredith, but something to keep an eye on. Southern Virginia absolutely blowing William Peace out of the water at halftime, 50-17, so all but confirmed that the Tornadoes will be heading to Buena Vista, Virginia to take on the Southern Virginia Knights, a team that swept the season series, granted, over the Tornadoes, but the second time around was a lot closer than the first. First, Tornadoes got blown out early in the year at Southern Virginia, which is where they will have to travel, but losing by 3 points, 54-51, the second time around here in the Bosch. And then speaking of teams that play in the Bosch, Tornado men's on the road, and for the second time in 4 days, taking on the William Peace Pacers. The Tornadoes have the lead, 30-26 at the half. Kind of a collective effort over there, it seems. The leading scorer for the Nados is Charlie Hester and Chancey Watson, both with 5. Timothy Pettiford with 9. Bo Bryant with 7 for the Pacers. And second half getting going here soon for the Nados in that one. Nados here taking care of business over Greensboro. 60-46 victory in the first round. The third straight year with a first-round playoff win for the Tornadoes. And if this is the final home game of the season, the Tornadoes will finish with a home record of 27-11 over the last 3 seasons. Tornadoes are just a complete monster here in the Bosch. So 3 straight USA South tournament appearances for the Tornadoes and 3 straight first-round victories. They had lost in the semifinals to Berea 2 years ago and then lost in the semifinals last season against North Carolina Wesleyan, who ended up being the USA South runner-up, losing to Greensboro in that championship. And, man, it is crazy that Greensboro flipped so crazily. They went 26-3 last season, USA South champs, and then lost to NYU in the NCAA tournament. But this year, only 7 rostered players at the time of the USA South tournament, with their new head coach, LaQuanda Dawkins-Prince, who had to fill in the shoes of Heather Macy after she left following last season for Division II Barry University. And also, Coach Heather Macy was the winningest coach in East Carolina women's basketball history, now at Barry, where she coached this season. And Coach Dawkins-Prince kind of had to pick up the pieces with only 3 returning players from that squad last year. And in the end, Greensboro finishes 7-19 on the year, 7-12 in USA South play. Falling to Brevard here, 60-46. And we will have the player of the game, Josie Hester, on the air here in just a moment. Nados with a 14-point victory. And we will be back here for post-game coverage, first round USA South tournament. Back here from the Bosch, now we have 2 student athletes that were pivotal in this ball game, Jada Petty-Wilkins and Josie Hester. We've got Josie, who's a little bit nervous. First time appearance here on a post-game interview, but well-earned by both of them. and the two of you combined for 43 points. And Jada, I'll ask you first. Kind of clearly you guys were feeling that three-point shot, but as a whole, what was working for the offense?
Just moving the ball and able to find each other open wherever we needed to, making our shots.
Absolutely. The two of you combined for 7 steals as well. Very disruptive on the defensive end. Jada, you had 2 blocks as well. So can you tell us a little bit about how the defense fed into the offense and that energy is contagious on that end of the floor?
When we bring good energy on defense, it just travels throughout the court all the way down to offense and just keeps carrying on throughout the game. As long as we have good energy, we're able to execute very well.
100%. 14 points for you, Jada. And early on, you took a couple of quick threes that were just a little bit off, and then you seemed to sort of find a rhythm, especially in that second quarter. Was that the case?
Yeah, it most definitely was the case. I know for a fact, majority of the time, my first three is not going to go, but once I keep finding my rhythm, seeing other people, having their rhythm, it just falls into me.
I know we talked about it the other day, how you're not shy to let that thing fly. And you guys definitely were not shy tonight with 24 combined attempts from 3 between the two of you. And now you head on to take on Southern Virginia in round number 2, a team that you fell short to twice, but obviously the second one was a lot closer than the first. What are you looking for personally against Southern Virginia, and what are you guys looking to do?
Just bring the energy on and off the court, being able to execute, not turn the ball over, and just play our game.
100%. Well, Jada, congratulations to you, and
Thanks,
great
buddy.
game tonight. Now we're going to hand the mic over to Josie Hester, who still might be a little bit nervous, but it's all right. Josie, first off, congratulations on the victory tonight. Third straight year that Brevard has gotten a first-round playoff victory, but the first year that they've had you here. So first, coming over from UVA-wise, can you talk a little bit about the difference between where you were and where you are now here at BC?
As far as basketball goes, I feel a lot more free here. Like, my role is bigger. I can kind of share my input in the game in more areas than I was able to at WAS.
Of course, and 15 points for you, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals, kind of an overall night. But similar to Jada, there were times in this game where your three-point shot simply wasn't falling. And can you tell us a little bit about how you were able to turn that energy into the other areas, cleaning up the glass, feeding your teammates, and getting steals on the defensive end?
Yeah, I have kind of had to give myself a mindset to do that, because sometimes I do struggle to hit shots or I'll be in a slump, but I have to tell myself that I can incorporate myself in other ways. And Coach AB helps me out with that too. She'll tell me I can go get rebounds or go get steals, keep the ball in front of me on defense. So I kind of try to lock in on that mindset and tell myself I can incorporate myself all areas in the court.
Of course, Josie, you guys shot 50% from the field in the fourth quarter. And what is it that Coach Hudson and Coach AB say to you guys in the fourth? Because it seems like so many times, and especially more often than not, you guys kind of turn it up a notch in that last frame.
Mm-hmm. Well, I feel like some games throughout the season we fell short after halftime, and I feel like since we were starting playoffs now, we're kind of locked in on not falling short. We got to keep the same energy throughout the game and keep consistent. So I think turning it up in the second half and the fourth quarter is something that we have focused on, and we're going to continue to, so we don't fall short in the second half.
Really good stuff. Josie, one more question. I want to ask you the same thing I asked Jada. What are you guys looking for in Southern Virginia? Obviously, it's a quick turnaround, and it's a team that you guys have seen a couple of times. So what's going to be the approach heading into Buena Vista, Virginia against the Knights?
Really just playing our game. In the locker room, Coach told us that he doesn't know if shots are going to fall. He doesn't know what looks we're going to get, but he does know that our defense can travel anywhere we go. So I think that's something we're going to have to lock in on and play our game defensively, and that's going to create our offense too.
Absolutely. Well, Josie, 15 points for you, 14 points for Jada Petty-Wilkins, who we all had on just a moment ago. Congratulations again to both of you, and best of luck against Southern Virginia. Good job, guys. Folks, back here one more time from the Bosch, 60-46, the final. Tornadoes getting the victory. and what is likely going to be my last game calling here in the Bosch Tornadoes. Likely will have to be on the road the rest of the tournament in both the men's and women's side. And I just wanted to take a time to wrap and kind of thank everybody. 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago now, I came in and started to fill this role as a student broadcaster. And I'll save all the emotional stuff or whatever for when it's truly over at the end of baseball season, but I just wanted to give a shout out and a word of appreciation to everybody that's tuned into these basketball games, both men and women's, over the last couple of years. The Bosch is a truly special place, and it's really, really been a thrill to call these different games. I want to give a shout out to the partners that I've had, Carson Evans and Weston Coop, both coming along this year and making my last year calling Tornado basketball games extra special. I want to thank Phil DeMontmollin for giving me the opportunity to call these games and kind of grow as a broadcaster and letting me spread my wings when I needed to, and also telling me when I needed to tone it down. I want to thank Joseph Marvin, who's helped with so much and is very willing to get me all the stat sheets that I need every game, is willing to answer any technology questions that I may have. I want to thank Mitchell Yoder, who's filming this right now and does awesome work for the school. Miranda Nash, my football coaches, for being so open to me kind of spending some time away from football to pursue this, and just everybody else involved, everybody, my teammates, my classmates, and everybody that's listened here at BC. I just want to give a huge thank you to all of you. And just say it's been a great ride. It's been a thrill calling Tornado basketball games, and maybe something crazy does happen on the men's side or something like that where I can get another home game. But just in case this is the last one, I want to spread a word of thank you for spending the time to listen to me as you watch the Tornadoes. It's been an honor, and it flew by really, really fast, but I'm glad that it ended with a third straight playoff win. It seems fitting being able to have Coach Hudd up here one more time talking about the postseason and this team that has been such a joy to watch. So for the last time, signing off, I am Brady Penn saying, let's go Nados.